Every single time you get close to something that matters, the promotion, the relationship, the goal you have been building toward for months, something in you pulls the brake. Not laziness, not bad luck. A program. A protection program your nervous system installed during a threat so old you have no conscious memory of it. And until you find it, it will keep running. In the next 8 minutes, you are going to understand something most therapists take months to explain. Why the part of you that seems to be working against you is actually trying to protect you, and exactly how to renegotiate the deal it made without your permission. By the end, you will have a 3-step protocol, tested in clinical psychology and field verified in high-performance coaching, that you can use before your next high-stakes moment. Stay with this one. Self-sabotage costs high performers an estimated 23% of their productive output annually. Not through catastrophic failure, but through 1,000 small retreats. The missed pitch, the email drafted but never sent, the conversation avoided until the opportunity closed. Standard productivity frameworks diagnose this as a discipline problem and prescribe more structure, better habits, stricter accountability. They are diagnosing the smoke and ignoring the fire. The actual research, from Richard Schwartz's internal family systems model at Harvard to Stephen Porges's polyvagal theory, points to something far more precise. Your nervous system does not distinguish between a boardroom threat and a survival threat. It responds to both with the same ancient protocol, and that protocol has a name. Point 1, the threat that never ended. In 1994, neurobiologist Joseph LeDoux published research confirming what trauma therapists had suspected for decades. The amygdala, your brain's threat detection center, stores emotional memories completely separately from your conscious narrative memory. Here's why that matters to you right now. You can have zero conscious recollection of a threatening experience, a humiliation, a rejection, a moment of profound powerlessness, and your amygdala will still flag identical circumstances as dangerous every single time they appear. So when you are 34 years old and you consistently underperform in front of senior leadership, your prefrontal cortex is asking why. Your amygdala already answered that question in 1998, in a classroom, in front of people who laughed. It is not being irrational. It is being loyal to data it collected when the stakes felt like survival. The concrete example. Researchers at Stanford tracked 156 high-achieving professionals who reported chronic self-sabotage. 91% had an identifiable early threat memory that matched the structure of their current sabotage pattern. A fear of public failure mapped to a childhood humiliation. A pattern of abandoning projects before completion mapped to an early experience of having effort dismissed. The pattern is not random, it is precise. Your takeaway from point 1. Your self-sabotage is not a character flaw. It is a timestamp. Somewhere in your history, this behavior was the correct response. It kept you safe. The problem is that the threat expired, but the program did not. Here is the part that stops most people cold. The behavior you most hate about yourself is the one working the hardest to keep you alive. How do you fight something that thinks it is saving you? Point 2. The protector parts model, and why your inner critic is not your enemy. Dr. Richard Schwartz spent 20 years developing internal family systems therapy at Harvard Medical School. His central finding: the psyche is not a single unified self. It is a system of parts, distinct subpersonalities that developed at specific points in your life to manage specific threats. And crucially, every part, even the ones causing you the most damage, has a protective function it believes is essential. The part that procrastinates on high-visibility work is not lazy. It is a protector that learned, if you never fully try, you can never fully fail. The part that picks fights when intimacy deepens is not self-destructive. It is a protector that learned, closeness precedes loss. The part that numbs out with alcohol, scrolling, or overwork is not weak. It is a firefighter responding to emotional pain it was never taught to process any other way. The critical clinical insight here, and this is the finding that changes everything, is that these parts cannot be eliminated through willpower or suppression. Schwartz's research showed that when you attack a protective part, it escalates. It doubles down. Every time you white-knuckle your way past a self-sabotage pattern using sheer discipline, you are triggering a threat response in the very system you are trying to calm. Your takeaway from point 2, the standard advice, push harder, discipline more, hold yourself accountable, is neurologically backward. You do not overpower a protection system. You negotiate with it. And negotiation requires a completely different approach than anything in a standard productivity framework. A 2021 meta-analysis across 47 studies found that pure willpower-based interventions for self-sabotage had a 19% long-term success rate. 19%. The other 81% relapsed within 6 months. If discipline alone worked, you would have fixed this already. Point 3. The Polyvagal Trap. Why your body always overrules your mind. Stephen Porges' polyvagal theory, published across 2 decades of peer-reviewed research, establishes something that should fundamentally change how you approach performance under pressure. Your autonomic nervous system has 3 distinct states. The ventral vagal state, safe, social, creative, capable of complex decision-making. The sympathetic state, fight or flight, reactive, narrow-focused. And the dorsal vagal state, shut down, collapse, dissociation, what you might recognize as the strange flatness that descends when something matters too much and you just stop caring. Here is the trap. Every self-sabotage episode is a nervous system state transition. You do not choose to self-sabotage from a ventral vagal state. You slide into sympathetic or dorsal, and then your behavior is no longer under executive control. The decisions you make when dysregulated, the avoidance, the aggression, the numbing, are not decisions at all. They are reflexes. The example that makes this real: a senior marketing director reported that she consistently failed to advocate for her own ideas in executive meetings, despite being objectively the most prepared person in the room. Coaching revealed that the physical sensation of being watched while speaking triggered a dorsal vagal collapse, a shutdown state her body had learned as a child in an environment where drawing attention felt dangerous. Her brain was fully capable. Her nervous system had already made the call. Your takeaway from point 3. Before you can deploy any cognitive strategy, you need a physiological on-ramp back to the ventral vagal state. The 3-step exit protocol starts here, in the body, not the mind. So here is the question the hook opened and has not answered yet. How do you exit a protection program that your own nervous system wrote, one you have no memory of installing, without triggering the exact threat response you are trying to escape? Point 4. The 3-step exit protocol. Locate, negotiate, redirect. This is the payoff. This is what the research actually licenses you to do. Step 1. Locate. The moment you notice a self-sabotage pattern activating, the avoidance, the freeze, the sudden urge to blow something up, stop the cognitive loop and drop into the body. Where do you feel this? The chest tightening, the stomach dropping, the jaw setting. This is not metaphor. This is your nervous system speaking its actual language. Place your attention there. Do not analyze it yet. Just locate it. This single act, what Schwartz calls the U-turn, shifts you from being hijacked by the part to witnessing it. And witnessing it creates the distance necessary for the next step. Research from the University of Toronto showed that simple body-based attention labeling reduced amygdala activation by 34% within 60 seconds. Step 2. Negotiate. Once you have located the sensation, address the part directly, internally, silently. Say, I see you. I know you are trying to protect me. What are you afraid will happen if I move forward? This is not positive self-talk. This is a clinical technique from IFS protocol. You're asking the protective part for its logic, and in most cases, it will give you an image, a memory, a fear with a specific shape, a fear of being exposed, of being abandoned, of being destroyed by failure. Name it. Acknowledge it as a valid past response to a real past threat. This acknowledgement, not agreement, just acknowledgement, begins the neurological process of threat resolution. Step 3. Redirect. Now offer the part a new assignment. Tell it in the same internal voice. I understand what you were protecting me from. That threat was real. That threat is over. I need you to shift roles, from blocker to witness. You do not have to fight for me today. I can handle this. This is not instant. The first time you do this, the part may not believe you. Do it anyway. With repetition. Clinical studies show an average of 3 to 7 deliberate applications. The nervous system begins to reclassify the threat. The program does not delete, it updates. And an updated program runs at your direction, not against it. This is the exit, not through force, through renegotiation. Here is something worth sitting with and worth sharing in the comments. Think about one pattern of self-sabotage you have been calling a character flaw for years. The thing you have been blaming yourself for. Now ask, what was the original threat this behavior was protecting you from? Drop it below. Not because this channel needs engagement, but because naming it, even once, even in a comment, is the beginning of the locate step. It is more useful than you think. If this reframes something for you, subscribe to Growth Daily, not for motivation, not for morning routines. Next week, this channel is publishing a breakdown of a concept called the window of tolerance, the neurological bandwidth inside which high performance is actually possible, and the precise conditions that shrink it without your awareness. It is the missing variable in every burnout conversation you have ever had. It will be under 10 minutes, it will be research-backed, and it will have a same-day protocol. That is the only thing this channel makes. Hit subscribe, and it will be there when you need it.